This week's Parsha is Lech Lcha, literally go for yourself or to yourself. It is the Parsha in which Hashem commands Avraham to go to the land of Canaan, the Holy Land. And he later will be promised that this land will be given to him and his descendants. Among the promises that Hashem makes to Avraham is that he will be a bracha. He says, I will make you a big land, I will make you a big nation, I will bless you, I will make your name big, often, or make your name great, often meaning that you'll be famous, and you will be a bracha. Continues, I will bless those that bless you, and curse those that curse you, and all families of the world will be blessed through you. Nivrachu, passive verb in Lashon HaKodesh. So what it's talking about is the whole concept of a bracha, and Avraham being blessed, and Avraham being a bracha himself. So to expand on this, the commentaries discuss it. Rashi says concerning a bracha that it's money. Avraham will get a lot of money. He'll be wealthy. Okay? The other one is that when people give each other a bracha, they'll say, you should be like Avraham, meaning that he's the perfect example. Everybody wants to be like him. The Chasam Sofer brings a Gemara in Baba Kama on the phrase Ovir Hasocher, concerning the purchase of the Ma'arat HaMachpelah as a burial place for Sarah, and that will serve as a crypt for the entire family. Ovir Hasocher means that it's business currency. And based on that, he says that there's a tradition that Avraham invented money. That the world was using barter up until that point, and nobody was ever satisfied. You know, you'd always have to get a little bit more or a little bit less, because it was very difficult to get something that really matched perfectly. You know, how many sheep does it take for it to be a bull, that type of thing. So what Avraham came up with was to make weights of silver that were uniform. And being that everybody wanted silver, he could always use that as change or to round out the amount of money that was needed to make a deal. He later puts on it, or perhaps at the time, an image of an older couple and a younger couple, so to speak, recalling him and recalling a younger couple. There are various interpretations of that being brought. Among them are that it was his hope of having a son who would get married, Yitzchak and Rivka, or that it was a commemoration of the rejuvenation that he and his wife received when they were blessed that they would have a child. And another one is that it was a commemoration for the marriage of Yitzchak and Rivka. The whole idea of a bracha being an aspect of joy, an aspect of success in business, a good business deal. Concerning Agadla Shimcha, I will make your name big, that is homiletically translated as that the name Avraham is bigger than the name Avram. That Hashem added a hey to Avram's name to make him Avraham, that his name became bigger. So to speak, we have that today in the form of, say, college degrees. A person becomes Yoseph Schreiber BA, and then he becomes an MBA, then say a PhD. His name gets longer. The Chasam Sofer looks at it in terms of his greatness among the patriarchs, that Yitzchak and Yaakov only have 4 letters to their name as opposed to 5 in Avraham, and that the sum of all of their letters adds up to 13. And 13 is the gematria of the word echad. This hints that Avraham is entitled to something extra because he was the first human being to discover God on his own. There were people who knew about HaKadosh Baruch Hu, starting with Avraham, starting with Adam Harishon, and Noah, but in Aver and Shem, they all knew about Hashem, but for them it was a tradition. They didn't find God by searching themselves and searching the world. In the case of Avraham, according to the tradition, he was originally raised in a cave because Nimrod, who was the king, wanted to kill him because there was a prophecy in the stars that the son of Terach, Abraham's father, would uproot him. So he wanted to kill the infant, and what Terach did was he hid him in a cave, and he gave him the infant of someone else, perhaps a slave or someone who was condemned. Let him take that baby. But because Avraham grew up in isolation, one of the things he meditated on is what is the power that is keeping the world going, and that is how he discovered his creator on his own. But the idea of a bracha is also a bracha of religious insight, meditation, wisdom. The Rabbeinu Bachai looks at the phrase "v'nivrachu b'chol kol mishpachot haaretz," that all of the families of the world, or all of the nations of the world, will be blessed through you. He says the simple understanding of it is examples like Yoseph interpreting Pharaoh's dream, that he's going to have famine and he's going to have years of plenty, and he has to use the years of plenty to prepare for the bad years. Another example would be Daniel interpreting the dream of Nebuchadnezzar. But on a deeper level, on the level of Kabbalah, mystic level, things that are concealed, what it's talking about is that the bracha for every nation spreads out from Avraham, that, so to speak, the characteristics of heaven are hovering above Avraham's characteristics, and when a blessing comes to the world, it first comes to Avraham, and then it spreads out to everybody else. What you have in Ha'azinu is the concept that all of the world is contained in the Jewish people. It says that Hashem established the borders of the nations according to the number of the children of Israel. When Israel went down into Egypt, there were a total of 70 people who were listed as descendants from Yaakov, and the number 70 is significant because in Parshas Noach, it talks about the 70 nations that came from 70 descendants of Noach. So to speak, they're all contained within Israel. And it continues that Yaakov Hevel Nachalaso, that Yaakov is the cord or the link or the chain for God's destiny. The idea is that when HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to bless a nation, the vehicle that he uses is blessing that aspect of the nation that is included within the Jewish people. And through the blessing that the Jewish people receive, it is manifest in the nation that has that characteristic as its basic foundation. Okay? The Baal Shem Tov also explains the whole idea of that Avraham is a blessing for all of the nations. And what he says is that when you have a tzaddik in a city, a man of truth who learns and he davens, he has an influence on others, and basically the evil people, the Rishaim, who are men of lies, men of falsehood, and engaged in the frivolities of the world, they start to flee, not necessarily run away. They may, but it's a case where they just simply don't want to deal with somebody who is very truthful and very devoted to the faith, which hints that the ultimate blessing of the world of the nations is a world where you have truth, where you have faith, and you have wisdom. And it's also a world without distrust, without malevolence, and without ignorance.